tutorial is a simple line and wash. When I say simple, it really is simple to paint, but to trace this, it took a while. It took me about maybe 10 or 15 minutes to trace through all of this. And I used a Micron 05 archival ink pen, any kind of permanent ink pen. When I say permanent, I mean waterproof, because if you put water on top of water-soluble ink, then it's just going to kind of bleed. But that would actually be a pretty effect anyway. So this is really going to be simple. So I've got my drawing out, and I've got a little sample here to show you how I'm planning to do each of the leaves. So I'm using transparent yellow, and all I'm going to do is paint the leaf, most of it with yellow, kind of the top part, and then come in with some sap green and just paint the bottom part. And then just let it blend however it wants to blend. And for the tree trunk and the branches, very, very simple. I've got burnt sienna and burnt umber here, and I'm going to do every other one. I'm going to do burnt sienna on the top, every other one, because I want them to dry before doing the second part. And then burnt umber, the darker color, on the bottom. And then let them blend on paper. You'll see it's a little darker on the bottom. And that's it. You could do the leaves any color. You could use bright fall colors for the leaves. You could use spring colors. You could make it colors that leaves really aren't, like pinks and blues and whatever color you want. But I'm just going to use the yellow and the green. So let's get started. Okay, I've got my transparent yellow. I'm only going to do a few leaves at a time so that the green and the yellow have a chance to meet and do what it wants to do. Oh, it's so pretty. I know you're seeing the reflection from the light. You're just going to have to trust me, it is pretty. I'm just doing just a handful at a time. Otherwise, the yellow will start to dry and they won't blend. If that happens, that's okay. It'll still be really pretty. Now I'm going to pause this recording because it would be pretty boring to watch me do all the leaves all around. So I'm just going to pause. Okay, it's dry. I did all the leaves. I think I got every one of them. We'll find out later when I start doing the branches and the trunk. So now I've got a pretty watery mixture of this transparent yellow. You could use lemon yellow, whatever yellow you have. And I'm just going to do a glaze over some of the leaves, just the entire leaf, just to brighten up a couple of them. I had too much paint on my brush. There we go. Just to brighten it up just a tad. Just going to pick a few. It's just kind of a random approach here. If there are any gaps in the leaves, I've got a lot of gaps actually where it's still the white of the paper, but that's okay. Any significant gaps, fill it with this yellow. This just really brightens it up. I think that's good. Okay, let this completely dry before we work on the branches and the trunk. Okay, I've got my colors mixed up here. I've mixed up burnt sienna, and I added just a little bit of neutral tint to make it a little darker, and then burnt umber, and again a little bit of neutral tint to make that a little bit darker. So I'm just going to start with the trunks and the branches. Every other one I'm going to do because I want them to dry separately and not bleed to each other. So I'm just going to do, this is the burnt sienna with the neutral tint, and this is the burnt umber with the neutral tint. And just letting it blend on paper. I'll do a couple more. You can watch me, and then I won't bore you with this because it would be pretty boring to watch me do every single one. This is the burnt sienna with the little neutral. And the burnt umber with the little neutral. I'm just going to do this for every other one, and when it dries, I'll do the other ones. Okay, I've got every other one painted, and it's pretty much dry except for the ones down here. So I'm going to start working on finishing up the others. And I won't bore you having you watch me do this because it's just simply doing the burnt sienna mixed with a little neutral tint, and then the burnt umber right next to it. The burnt umber is mixed with a little bit of neutral tint as well, and then letting it mix on paper. Look how it's doing. It's kind of granulating. That burnt sienna is definitely a granulating color. I really like how it's looking. Right now it's kind of a candy stripe tree, but it's about to look just gorgeous when I add the rest of it. Okay, I'm calling this done. You could take a micron pen and go over some of the lines. I'm not going to do that. I kind of like the little bits of white that are kind of coming through. By doing alternating sections on the tree trunk and the branches, it actually looks like it is wrapped around and intertwining the trunk and the branches. I really think it looks cool. You could also get a sparkle pen or use some metallic paint to go over a couple of the leaves. I think I may do that in a few minutes, but I'm going to walk away and call this done. May have an enhancement later with some sparkle. I love sparkle pens and metallic pens, but I think this turned out really pretty. I like it. Thank you so much for being a subscriber. It means the world to me. Thank you. Okay, I've got this metallic gold pen. I can't really tell what the name of the brand is, but it really is a good metallic pen. You can see very sparkly. So I just want to show you what it would look like if I went over a couple of the leaves. It would really make them pop. See the difference? So I may go over a couple. Okay, I've decided I am going to go over just a couple of the leaves. There's one. Let's see. I'll do 3. And then one up here. just 3 of them. Little bling that you probably wouldn't even notice. But wow, when it's tilted and you see it from an angle, it really sparkles. Okay, I'm calling this done. Thank you so much for being a subscriber.